and I've learned by the ultimate way of learning and trading is losses in your account. That the more stuff you have on your screen, there's always going to be a right place to get in and right place to get out.
Good morning, traders. Welcome back to this freezing Montreal. It's crazy out here. The first time I come here downtown since I came back from Singapore, and now we've been doing some backtesting the past few days. I've been showing you guys everything I was doing and looking for in the market. I will take a little break of this, but I'm going to meet a friend who came here in Montreal for a few days, specifically for the meetup we have tomorrow evening. So I'm going to meet him today and try to talk a little trading. You guys know him for sure, so let's get there right away. I had to stop for coffee, of course. Alright traders, welcome back. I'm sitting down today with Michael Toma, and we want to talk about Heikin Ashi. If you guys have been following these videos the past 2 days, I've been going live talking about the project I'm doing with the backtesting with Heikin Ashi. It's not going too well on my side. What I've been coming across these days was pretty tough and not really working right. I was trading Heikin Ashi a little bit. So first of all, I want you to introduce yourself a little bit. Tell people who you are and why you're here.
Yeah, well, you may have seen me on some of the Desire Trade vlogs and things. Basically, I'm a New Jersey boy. I've traded, this is actually my 20th year trading, on and off, obviously, in the beginning. But and I basically do corporate risk management. I do on the corporate side, I do public and private sector. But really, my core business is my trading business. I trade futures, options, and actually sell premium on options as well. Pretty much involved in the whole space. I also do teaching, of course, to that. Again, specifically, people reach out for me on the risk management specialty side. So it's been a great journey. Hopefully, there's many more years to come. This business is always evolving, but and again, we talk about things like backtesting, like you just mentioned. There's struggles with that. That's a key part of the trading journey, and a lot of people I find personally just don't invest the time, and then their results suffer. So, and again, maybe it's on the Heikin Ashi side, but I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. So, give people a small introduction to your trading style. What you trade, how you trade, are you intraday, swing, and what does that look like on a chart, let's say? Yeah, well, actually my trading has evolved probably in the last 5 years. I was purely an ES futures trader, and again, that's a good chunk of what I still do. On future side, I try to really be flat at the end of the day, so it's purely a day trade type mentality. But really, I've increased in the past 5 years my exposure to the option side. The options premium writing, selling premium, basically selling fear insurance in a sense. And why? Because most of the time it's overpriced. So if I can, buy something for $2 and sell it for $2.50, when people are in panic or markets are moving and people have fear, they're willing to pay a high amount for that insurance. I've always said I'm sort of a risk specialist that I apply to the trading world. If you ask me, which way the market's going, I could tell you historically, there's a 50% chance I'll be right. I mean, really not much. But what gives me that edge is the risk management side, particularly. I will, on the option side, obviously, those will swing. They can be closed out within a day or up to 60 days. But I really think at the end of the day, it's protecting your losses and allowing you to trade for another day. That really makes, the traders, again, like we're here in Montreal, these traders are, top notch that we're meeting at our traders group tomorrow. That's what separates the men from the boys. Yeah. By the way, Michael has been able to help me put together a course in risk management. It's inside the academy. I'll put the link below, and that's an awesome course about everything he knows and all his knowledge of risk management. It would be useful, and that's valued to $25,000 or something. Oh, of course. Risk management is such a tough topic to really talk about. It can be granular, but I thought, in that that small time frame, we did a really good job, and it had a lot of value to traders. So.
Awesome. So back to it. What do you know about heiken-ashi?
Yeah, I use heiken-ashi, and if your viewers are not familiar with it, it's really just color coding bar charts. And really what the intention is supposed to do, and sometimes it works more than other times, is that it sort of smooths out. If you ever have using candlestick charts, you see sometimes in a choppy market, a green, red, especially on a smaller time frame. If you're using that type of information to help you enter and exit, on trend days, it's fine, but on chop days, it can really just whipsaw you out. And then, next thing you know, you may have had like a break-even day, you have 30 trades and stuff, and it just chops you up, and it's not worth it. Heikin-ashi, what it's intended to do is to sort of smooth out that choppiness, so you can trade it in a sense without getting chopped up. In a trend market, clearly it works better, but in a chop market, it will sort of, sort of prohibit you, if you follow it correctly, not to just trade 50 times a day. And the whole intention is not to go green, red, trade every one, but it'll kind of keep you on the same page. At least that's the intention.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you use it? Do you look at the change in color, or because what I've seen today, especially with the backtesting, is that even heiken-ashi can change color very often. And if you have to take all the setup where it can change color, you would be wasting your time probably and have a lot of losing trades. So what do you think is the goal and the intention behind using heiken-ashi?
Yeah, and how I use it? Well, let me first say, if you have any type of charting on a smaller time frame, you're going to have that sort of color changes, whether it's heiken-ashi, candlestick, whatever you're doing. I like to look at it more of a validation to something I'm already planning on doing. So it's not a red light, green light to me. I don't have any red light, green light. But if I have a particular trigger, which I refer to in my trading plan, that, okay, when this happens, I'm interested. I'm very interested in doing something, getting into a trade. The heiken-ashi may be sort of the validator that says, no, I'm getting in. That's how I use it. But for those who use sort of like when it turns green, it turns red, again, I think if you have good risk management principles and you're consistent with your methodology, it will keep you on the right side of the trade. Whether it makes money or not is a different story. Just because something, at least in my sort of validation, once it turns that heiken-ashi, that reversal, I just ask myself, what's going on here? Is this just something like a normal ebb and flow or a retracement? Or for a heiken-ashi to change color, it's not just like that little tick or something. There's obviously some type of reversal power, right? I ask myself again, if something's going in a certain direction or a certain range, and then maybe it goes outside of a range, and then maybe it comes back in, I'm asking myself, I use the phrase that James Dalton in Market Profile uses, the hair on the back of your neck should be standing up when that happens. Okay, why is that? Like, why were we in a certain range, fall out of it, and then all of a sudden come back in? Like, where were the sellers? Where were the buyers there pushing it? Something changed. Heikin-ashi changes, now it's saying to me, okay, structurally, I'm in.
One thing I'm impressed with you, especially, is that you don't use that many indicators. And so one of the reasons why I use heiken-ashi is to kind of reduce what I use. And what I found out is that maybe some of the indicators I use right now, the Bollinger Band, which I use a lot, might not be really working necessarily with heiken-ashi. Now it'd be better to focus only on like specific zones in the market. So I want to talk about what kind of tools you use in the market to keep it simple.
Yeah, again, if I'm traveling, my tools are sort of limited, so I focus more on like market profile theory and things like that. But I basically use, I'll have heiken-ashi charts, 15 minutes on my screens, but I'm really concerned with, are we in a trending market, in a balanced market? That kind of dictates the paths I take as far as my different strategies. A lot of people ask me, I back-tested your strategy and it's like 50%. Well, sure, because you're not supposed to use it in all occasions, in all time frames. And that's why a lot of new traders, they just want to like, show me the setup as well. You're not really putting it in context. And heiken-ashi, in a sense, helps you identify, is something changing here? Again, maybe it's just a simple retracement and then it goes back to its normal flow. It's possible. And that's why we have risk management and things like that. But when I apply statistical analytics to certain things, when an heiken-ashi changes in a certain environment, what's the outcome? And when I start to see, to me, when I see 65%, 68%, if something happens, this happens, I start to get interested. When I see 70%, now I'm going to start, okay, now I want to learn more. When I start seeing 75 up to 81%, particularly in market profile, you can see some things. I'm starting it with Sim, and I'm going to back test and really invest some of the tools and time that I have, because it's worthy of it. It showed me that it's something to do. And again, just to wrap up with Heikin Ashi, it's not a red light, green light for me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest misnomers is that people misuse that type of technology, because let's face it, it's visually appealing to it. It says, oh, it like something changed, oh, let me get in on it and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it's a great tool to combine with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I found from yourself is that you don't use typical support resistance areas. You don't look on the chart, draw lines on where support are necessarily. You're using market profile. So why is that? And why don't you think that support resistance areas are, let's say, better than market profile?
Yeah, well, I find that I've learned I've learned by the ultimate way of learning and trading is losses in your account. That the more stuff you have on your screen, it's just, it just seems to, there's always going to be a right place to get in and a right place to get out. But just you have too much junk on there and too much noise. It doesn't show the results. Market profile is just one of the things I use, so I want to be clear about it. But it does give me sort of a framework to tell me, okay, are we in a trend or sort of a range? I always look at like the car dealership that, when they look at the sales for the month. There's probably a chance, there's a good chance where most of the sales made, were at a certain price or within a range. And then there was that outlier where maybe that salesman needed one more on the last day, so that the manager probably just said, okay, they're willing to accept the low price. But they have these outliers. But for the most part, business was being conducted in a certain range. Same thing with the markets. Price likes to, it's really an advertising mechanism, and price likes to sort of navigate where it's comfortable, where their buyers and sellers are both going to be happy. Does it try to probe outside that? Of course, that's why we have trending markets. But market profile really recognizes those two things, and then what you do is you apply the strategies that would most take advantage or give you the most edge in a trending and or chop, or sort of where price is sort of being accepted. You can take advantage of those through scalping and things like that.
Love it. That's pretty useful. I think I'll have to get back to the drawing board, and you guys might have some ideas to backtest. We'll probably see Michael tomorrow at the meetup, and
we'll be talking about this very topic.
Yeah. Any last piece of wisdom for people watching this right now?
Like any other tool, try it, play with it, backtest it, but really, I always say, let the analytics, let the numbers and statistics drive you to whether you use it in your way. There's a lot of ways to use any type of these tools, right? Yeah. Just try it, backtest it, and really just immerse yourself in being an expert at that thing before you apply any capital to it. It goes with anything. That's the basic core principles of risk management.
I love it. Air quality is good, the streets are clean, the public places are clean, so yeah, you cannot really complain about Singapore.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. So
it's almost too clean, so people say. So
interesting. Coolest airport. I didn't tell you. I know one, but you may have the same one.